This is for Lauren Spruit. The first and foremost thing that I would say is, just looking at this right off the bat, the first thing that I say is that you've got kind of a weird tangent. Let's create a new layer here and brush. Okay, so you've got a weird tangent going on here, and it's just the way the character is posed because everything's converting to this breast here. And it's almost like it's parallel here, parallel there, so it feels weird. This hand does. Um, and I'd almost like to see the hand up a little bit more. I think moving the hand up, the arm up, will fix some of those issues. The other thing is the other thing I'm looking at is the way your character is centered. So looking at this, you've got like this dome here, and it comes down, and it comes back up, comes down, and then it comes all the way down like so. All right, which is this part is well centered. But the issue that I see is that if I'm kind of following the same perspective, the breasts, this, um, the hip pockets here, that all, it doesn't, I don't know, like this is not on the right line here. It's almost like this here should be a little bit bigger. And I think that, especially since you're moving this arm forward, it's going to take a different shape as well. So that's one thing that I looked at and I think needs to be fixed. The other thing too is this arm. When you initially look at it, you think that this arm is her arm, and so it's discombobulating. It's very you've got too many things going on here. What I would suggest is to move this arm up over here like this, and creating a much bigger tangent staff type of thing. And it's also like you have two people up here, one here, one here, and one here. And I honestly think that if you're going to do that, what you probably want to do is kind of exaggerate your stuff a little bit more. So what I would say right off the bat is let me just start off with, yeah. So the first thing I would do is take her and transform her downward. And let's move her something like this. And even more like this. And then let's see here. Let's do a gradient, and we can do a behind. Let's pick this color here, and pick that color here, and let's just do a 100% gradient. Oops, wrong size. Let's do that again. So something along the lines of all right, so that's in there. And then what I would do is now this gives the character room to, you've got the room to kind of add your essence into the character. I think it separates the two characters enough, and looking at that, I think that's kind of what you're looking for. You want that separation of the two characters, and still give the idea of what it's going on. The other thing too is if you're going to do human anatomy, like here in the arm or in the hand, you need to have matching human anatomy, or exaggerated. Like it looks like it's kind of a poorly drawn hand. So what I would say is if you're doing the claw thing, what I would say is extend the claw like significantly, like so. And then that gives you that ability to kind of look at this and say, okay, you know, this is a shape changer. And then what you're doing is, if you want that wispy trail look, get a couple of these just to fade off into nowhere. And I don't know, honestly, like having a guy riding on the piggyback doesn't feel right. I think I think it just feels like, I don't know. I look at it and I'm like, it doesn't make sense. The other aspect too is, you know, get more anatomy going on in here. You know, like your pectorials, and you could even get in some transparency there. What I would do is create a new layer, and what you can do is, you know, do a couple of your wisps, and you know, something like that. And I think this is a much better, more interesting. And then just get into with your eraser, and you can actually go with a low setting and just start erasing some of that out and blending things together a little bit more. So, and the other thing is, if you're going to have spires here, make sure they're, at least if they're symmetrical, that's fine, because you've got symmetrical back here, symmetrical here, but here's where it differs. And so what you need to do is, if you're going to keep symmetrical, keep symmetrical. If you're going to go kind of wild, that's fine too. You just got to keep it going wild. So those are things that you want to pay attention to. And then look at the anatomy in the smoke too. You still want to get that shape and form. Elbow in there. You know, I would probably make the hand a little bit bigger, that type of thing. So I think that would accent what you're trying to portray a little bit better than the prior version. Um, you know, so looking at this one here, I think is a little bit convoluted, whereas this one here, you get much more of a sense of individuality between the two characters. All right.